So we are going to begin our lesson, and the topic that we are covering today is what you should have covered before, doing whatever else you are doing, but all the same, it is okay. So we are going to look at introduction to business data analytics. Introduction to business data analytics. Introduction to business data analytics. And we write this. Business data analytics. Business data analytics is a process by which a specific set of techniques, competencies and procedures, are applied to perform continuous exploration. Iteration and investigation of past and current business data, for the purposes of obtaining insights. About a business that can lead to improved decision making. Analytics can therefore be divided into three. One is exploratory. And we write that this focuses on discovering new features. In the data. Number two is called confirmatory. This focuses on confirming or falsifying confirming or falsifying existing hypothesis. Existing hypothesis. Existing hypothesis. And number 3 is predictive. Predictive. This is about forecasting. This is about forecasting. Using structural models. Using structural models. So that is the introduction to business data analytics. And we are saying data analytics is simply a set of 3 things: a set of techniques, a set of competencies, and procedures. So when we talk of a set, we are talking of combinations. That's why when you look at your syllabus, you can see we are teaching you, or you are supposed to understand, number 1, you understand what? Management, accounting. Number 2, you understand tax. Number 3, you understand audit. Number 4, you understand financial management. Number 5, you understand financial reporting. And number 6, you understand what? Computers. So Mr. Ruto has been teaching you computers. Juma will come to deal with a bit of what? FR. Mr. Wafura should also come to deal with a little bit of FM. Mr. Ochien will come in to deal with a bit of auditing. Mr. Owino will come in to deal with a bit of what? Taxation. I will also come, after I'm through with the introduction, I will also come to teach you advanced management accounting. So it's a set of techniques, competencies, and procedures that are supposed to do 3 things. 1, they help us to explore data, and exploration is what we have said, it's about discovering new features. So you look at business data that has been there, you try to see, is there anything new that is happening? Like now, ukipewa our data for Destiny Technical Training Institute, are there new students who have joined us this semester? You need to check on that. Then we do iteration. Iteration is, we use it in statistics. It is a set of repetitive procedures. I hope some of you did QA. Did I teach you QA? Okay. So, so if you did not do QA, then maybe you did not come across something called simplex method. If you did QA or elsewhere you have come across simplex, you know it's a set of repetitive procedures. That's what we call iteration. Kitu unafanya over and over again. Then we also do investigation. Now, these things are supposed to focus on the past data or the current data. Like now, when I have said, if you are told to check how many new students we have, utaangalia the data ya last semester, not the data ya this semester. The past, not the current. That will help you to discover. Now, the objective of this is that we can be able to understand our data well. And when we understand our data, meaning we also understand our business, we are able to make the right decisions. For example, if we realize we have a very small proportion of new students who have joined us this semester, that tells us we need to go out there and do a lot of marketing so that new students can know about Destiny and come. If we realize that there is a big proportion that has joined us, then again, that will help us to know that our marketing effort is paying. Again, if we realize that already new students have come, the old ones have not come back, we also need to check back our procedures and check why are students not, or why are we not having repeat customers. So decision making. So the analytics is divided into 3. We have exploratory, I've already said that. Confirmation, it is where you want to falsify or to confirm. Maybe someone has made an allegation, pesa imepotea hapa. So how do we run that? To confirm when pesa imepotea or uongo. That is about data analytics. Then predictive, we want to predict the future. Now in this class, for example, I would wish to predict how many students eventually we shall have this semester or even next semester. So how do we go about that? It is about the data analytics. And I think when I come to teach you management accounting, we shall deal with this more. Good. The next one is data model. Let's now discuss something called data models. data models, and we write that a data model is a visual representation. It's a visual representation of an enterprise's data elements. And connections between them. E.g., y is equals to 10 plus 3x. Now, this one is an equation. Is what in accounting we call an equation. So this one is showing us the connection between this data, between the values of y and the values of x. So that's what we call a model. It is a visual representation of the data elements and the connections between them. Okay, then down there are three main purposes of a data model. There are three main purposes of a data model. One, they bring together all segments of an enterprise. They bring together all segments of an enterprise. Number two, they shine a clear light. Shine a clear light on what data is required. And how it must be structured. To support the desired business process. Number three, they support other cases. Such as database modeling, information systems design, clean exchange of data, etc. Clean exchange of data. So basically we are saying when you have this model, it helps, number one, to bring together the various segments. When you talk about segments, we are talking about the departments. Like we are able to connect the IT department to the account department, to the legal department, to the human resource department. These models, they bring us together. Reason being, for you to develop the model, you require data from everywhere. Then they shine a clear light on how the data in the organization needs to be to be structured so that it can help us to achieve the objectives of the company. And they are also useful in many other areas that take place in the business. Like maybe you want to develop a website, you need a database. So how do you model that database? You require these models. Maybe you are designing an information systems. You did the bias the other day. You know what is an information system, how to design the system, the stages of designing all those systems. Maybe you want to see how to exchange data. All those areas are supported by the data models. Let's look at types or stages of data models. 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 So the first one is called conceptual data model. Conceptual data model. Conceptual data model. Some people call it domain. You can also call it domain data model. And write that these explore and detail. They explore and detail high level, comma, static, high level, comma, static business structures and concepts. Explore, detail, high level, comma, static business structures and concepts. They are used during beginning of a new project. Beginning of a new project. Used during beginning of a new project. To develop concepts, to develop high-level concepts, to develop high-level concepts and initial requirements. And initial requirements. And initial requirements. Number two, inaitwa logical data models. Logical data model. Logical data model. And write that this clarifies the various logical entities. It classifies the various logical entities. Into brackets, types or classes of data. Types or classes of data that will be used, comma, data attributes, and the relationships between them. And the relationships between them. And the relationships between them. Number three, inaitwa physical data models. Physical data models. Physical data models. These are used to design the internal schema. The internal schema of a database. The internal schema of a database. They include the various tables. Columns on those tables. columns on those tables and the relationships between them. And the relationship between them. So when you're coming up with a model, eventually remember the model is supposed to help us predict. So the first thing is to come up with the concept. It's like when we're writing academic papers, we call it the concept paper. It lays down, and we are saying it is the high level. It explores and it gives details of the high level. What is it that we expect? What are our objectives? And it is used when you want to start a new project. And in this new project, you tell us exactly what will be the initial requirements. So that is the concept. Then from there, you give us the logic. Maybe like if I use a very basic, very simple thing, say you want to build a house. So what kind of a house do you want? That's the concept. Then the logic, that what are the steps that will be taken in building the house? We need to prepare the ground, we need to do the foundation, we need to do the walls, we need to do the roof, and so on. It's what we call the logic. Again, if you did QA, but I doubt any one of you did that in the old syllabus, we used to teach something we used to call network diagrams. So network diagrams, we would illustrate how the project you run from the initial stage back out commission, the logical flows. You know that the activities that are running concurrently, those which must wait, those which can proceed, and so on. So it is what you're calling the logic. But for our case here, we are saying here you specify the type of data that we are going to use. Are you going to use qualitative data? Are you going to use quantitative data? What are the attributes and what are the relationships between that data that you are going to use? Then from there, you do the physical. Physical now is where you play your data tables, diagrams, and so on. And you show us the relationship, the connection between this figure, between this table, the connection between this column and this other one. That's what we call the physical. So those are the three types. Now from there, let's look at data modeling development cycle. Data modeling development cycle. Data modeling development cycle. We can either give it in terms of diagrams or steps. So hapo kwa cycle, to make our work easier, you can also talk of steps so that we don't draw whatever. So step number 1, gathering business requirements. Gathering business requirements. Number 2, identification of entities. Identification of entities. Number 3, conceptual and logical modeling. Number 4 is physical data modeling. Physical data modeling. And number 5 is creation of a database. Creation of a database. So those are the steps that we follow. Number 1, you must get to understand the business that you're dealing with. Then you identify the entities. Entities could be segments or departments that are there in the business. Then you do the concept. Concept tumesema ni your high level details and whatever. Then you do the logic to know the data and the types. Then you do the physical, the tables. Then from there now you create the database. You create the output of that process. Then from there, let's look at something called relational and dimensional modeling. Relational and dimensional modeling. And write that a relational model is a design technique that seeks to remove data redundancy. For stop still on the same, data is divided into many districts. Data is divided into many discrete. Data is divided into many discrete entities. Discrete entities, each of which becomes a table. Each of which becomes a table in the relational database. In the relational database. Let's define dimensional. Like that. Dimensional model. Involves splitting the data. Involves splitting the data into dimensions and facts. Into dimensions and facts. Into dimensions and facts. Whose design goals are user understandability, query performance, and resilience to change. So that is the definition of those two, relational and dimensional databases or modeling. And we are talking of a relationship or a relational. It is where you seek to remove the data redundancy. It is done by establishing the relationships. You create tables, and then you will be able to remove the redundant. Or for example, you are able to remove the duplicate data. So you can just how to remove duplicate data in Excel. Umefanya hiyo data analysis. How to remove the data, the duplicates. So maybe mtafanya as you go by and by. There are some functions ukiwa kwa Excel, una highlight the data, unaenda pale kwa data view, alafu huko kona kuna kitu inaitwa data analysis. You're able to see the duplicates. You are told, do you remove, do you highlight? So unasema remove kama unataka the duplicates zitolewe, ama una highlight. For example, as Destiny, if you want to combine our data, toka section 1 mpaka section 6 for the last 3 years that we have operated, some of you, like yourself, would appear in several classes. Every time you come, you capture your data. So when we have all that data since 2020, there are some of us whose data will be captured more than once. So if you run with that, then you'll be getting the wrong data. Because one student amehesabika, tuseme umesoma na sisi kutoka set 1 mpaka set 5. So as one student, unahesabika 5 times. So we may think we have 5 students, when actually we have 1. So how do we remove that? You highlight that. Or maybe some students who left, they have discontinued. Then data dimension is where you try to divide data into dimensions, into facts, so that you can make it to be more understandable. You're able to understand the data, you're able to raise queries, and you're also able to build what we call resilience to change. Resilience is the ability to withstand or to embrace a change, and it leaves you not worse off, but better off, or the way you are. When there is a change and you are able to withstand it, that's what we call resilience. You're able to respond appropriately to changes in life. So here now the change is in regard to data. Good. So tunaendelea. The next thing that we need to discuss is called the cross-industry standard process. The cross-industry. The cross-industry process for data mining. The initials are Chris, DM. Now, data mining in statistics, again, if you did QA, those are online, make sure you mute yourself. Esther, mute yourself. In QA, we run those the ability tests. We run those models. If again you did QAs, you can remember those tables. You put like 14 columns. You run data, you run very many things. Now, at times you may want to really get the pattern from the data. So when you want to get the pattern, then we are saying you are doing data mining. You're looking for values. Okay. So now we want to write that. And write that this is a process model that serves as the base. This is a process model that serves as the base for a data science process. For a data science process. Is a base for a data science process. First of all, a data science process is a set of guidelines. Is a set of guidelines. Is a set of guidelines. Is a set of guidelines that defines how a team. That defines how a team should execute a project. Should execute a project. First of all, it has 6 sequential phases. It has 6 sequential phases. Sequential phases. Now, this cross-industry standard process for data mining, we are saying it is the base. This is like the foundation that we use for data science process. And we are saying data science process is simply a set of guidelines that defines how a team should execute a project. Maybe we want to launch a new unit, like we did the other day, launching data business data analysis course. How do you go about that? Maybe you want to start a new campus. You want maybe to launch a new product as a company. how do you go about that project? So that is called data science process. Now, this data science process has 6 stages, which are sequential. Sequential means they follow after each other. One leads to the other. So let's start with the first one, called business understanding. Business understanding. And write that any good project starts with a deep understanding. Any good project starts with a good understanding of the customer's needs. Of the customer's needs. First of all. This involves the following. This involves the following tasks. This involves the following tasks. Roman 1. Determining business objectives. Determining business objectives. Determining business objectives. Roman 2, assessing the situation. Assessing the situation. Assessing the situation. And maybe you have to kidogo, you look at the resources. Resources. Risks, costs, etc. etc. Another one is determining data mining goals. Determining data mining goals. That is what success looks like. What success looks like. What success looks like. And the last one is producing project plan. Producing project plan. And here is about the technologies and tools. Technologies and tools that will be used. That will be used. Technologies and tools that will be used. So that is the first step in the CRISP-PM model. Number one, when you want to do a project, you must do what you call business understanding. Like now, for us, when we are teaching you people in this project, in this unit, the very first thing that we need to know is your objective. Why are you in this class? Broadly, there are 2 types of students in this class. Kuna wale wako hapa ndio wasome wapite mtihani, full stop. And I also have some people here hata hawafanyi mtihani. They are already qualified with CPA, but they want this data so that they are able to practice out there in a better way. Because the future now is data analytics. It's how you're able to do to deal with this. So what does this student want? Then number 2, assess the risk, the situations. What are the risks that are involved? What are the resources? What are the costs? Who do we require? That's why I began by saying, or maybe if I start from here, one of the things that I have assessed, and is a fact, and we need to state it, is that in the last 2 exam sittings, students have failed terribly, not only here, everywhere. So when we have come to that realization, which is a risk, then we have asked ourselves, what is it that we must do? And some of the things that we have done is to ensure that we bring all the teachers, as I mentioned, and we bring them much early. That's why unaona tumekuja mapema. Previously, we used to come towards the end. But now, in this semester, we want those teachers to kuja mapema, tufunze those units, Ruto naye afunze hizo computers, so that we see whether this risk of students failing will be eliminated. What are the costs? What are the resources? Do we have these teachers? Do we have someone who can teach us computers, who can teach MA, FM, and so on? You need to assess the situation. Then, what is the objective? What is the goal? How does success look like? Like now in our case here, our success will look like, or our success is students passing. That is how our success will look like. Tukiangalia results hivyo tuona wanafunzi wetu wamepita, that is our goal. It's how our success will be looking like. Then, how do we do it now? What technology are we going to use? Like now we're using the internet, we are using the Zoom app, we are using these computers. Which tools are we using? I'm using the whiteboard, I'm using the Mac pen, maybe we may use the laptops. All those things must be captured in the first step of business understanding. Let's go to the second step. The second step, which is data understanding. Data understanding. This is about having a focus to identify. It is about having a focus to identify, correct, and analyze, the data sets, and analyze the data sets that will help you achieve the project goals. The data sets that will help you achieve the data goal. The project goals. It has 4 tasks. It has 4 tasks. Roman 1, correct initial data. Correct initial data. Number 2, describe data. Describe data. Number 3 is explore data. Explore data. And the last one is verify data quality. Verify data quality. So that is the second step. We are saying you have a data understanding. And basically, in this case now, tukishajua what is our needs, what is our customer wants, we gather data. And the first thing is we gather the initial data. And there are many methods. Again, if you have done statistics, you know that we have very many methods of data collection. We have the primary and the secondary data methods. Then you describe data. You are able to, again, if you have done statistics, you know the various, the five descriptive statistics. We have kina mean, kina measures of partition, all those. Then you tell us whether it's qualitative, whether it's discrete, whether it's continuous. I don't want to get into a lot of details. Then you explore the data, you try to question it, you try to query. And then you do what we call verify data. And verifying data, again, if you did QA, it is a step that we do to ensure that this data is genuine. For example, if we have at this stage of collecting data, what happens? Tunatengeneza questionnaires if we are collecting the primary data. unapea watu, unawaambia endeni huko you gather data. Ama kama ni kampuni, maybe you are doing audit, unaletewa hizo files zote for the last 5 years. Unaambia mtu kaa hapa, key in every document, every receipt, you capture all those details. Now some guys will be honest and do that to the letter. So they bring you the original, the real data. Some other guys will be smart in their wisdom. Ajue mimi hizi 50 of them wanafikiria nitakaa chini niweke. No. So they just go and cook data. Ama anaenda mahali anajifungia, anajaza hizo questionnaires peke yake, anakuletea. So before you use them, you need to verify. You need to verify. So there are tests that we run to verify that this data is actually coming from. We call them the goodness of fit, the goodness of fit test. Maybe when we come to do a bit of regression, I might mention a bit on that. How well does it fit? Maybe to bring it in a very close way, it's like you can meet a person akwambia yeye mtu familia. Wewe ni mwanafunzi wa Destiny, hata mimi nilikuwa Destiny. So akikwambia hata yeye alikuwa Destiny, maybe anataka muanze kuongea. But before muanze kuongea, muulize maswali ya Destiny. Unajua kina Kimani, unajua kina Ruto, unajua fulani, anafanyanga nini huko? So you verify whether they actually come from Destiny. So the same thing is done with data. And I keep on telling you people, those who have been in my statistics classes, that the way you see human beings form relationships, it is the same thing you see in data. The same thing you see in data. Remember, in company law, we say that a company is an artificial person. So artificial person takes the characters of the natural. So venye sisi huwa tuna behave in our relationships, very many types of relationships, the same thing you see in data. So if you can be able to connect that to it, it makes your work very, very easy. Step number 3, that was number 3, nimegundua hapo kwa data, whatever nilikuwa nimeandika number 1, but it was supposed to be 2, Step number 1 tumesema ni business understanding, understanding business. Then number 2 tukasema ni data what? Data understanding. Number 3 is called data preparation. Data preparation. Data preparation. This has 5 tasks. This has 5 tasks. 1, select data. Select data. Number 2 is clean data. Clean data. Number 3 is construct data. Number 4 is integrate data. Number 5 is format data. So in this data preparation, it comes in when already data imeletwa from the field. Ushatumana in step 2, correct data imeletwa. So the guys have brought the initial report, the documents called sasa na. So you must select data. You don't use everything that has been brought to you. Then number 2, you must clean data. Ukishachagua mimi natumia, it's like what would also call sampling. You see, this is also about sampling. Sampling is where you select a few, you don't use everything for the interest of time. Then you clean data. Cleaning data has to do with like what I was saying. Maybe you want to know what are duplicates, you remove them or you highlight them. Maybe you want to know figures which are erroneous. Just a minute. Okay, so Mr. Ruto is saying that there is something small you did not complete yesterday. You would want to complete it from 8:30 for 30 minutes. Okay? Hamjabeba laptop? Okay, okay. Sawa, sijui kama inahitaji laptop. Mlikuwa mnatumia laptop jana, eh? Okay. Let's see what. Let me talk to him. So he has said then if you don't have laptops, you can do it in the next lesson. Eh? Okay. So then you'll not meet at 8:30. So I was saying you create data, unatoa the duplicates, unatoa zile ziko na makosa, then you construct data. Constructing data is trying to get the relationships, even to get the weights, even to put them together, to do graphs and so on. Then you integrate, you get data from various sources, you bring them together, then you format your data. You format your data. Formatting means putting the data in the right way. Eh? You know, there is, soma hizo vitu za data presentation kwa Excel, kuna zile zinaitwa number, kuna general format, kuna currency and so on. Unaonyesha hizo vitu kule tu functions kwenye format ndio unajua hii itakuwa inaonyesha units, hii inaonyesha kilos, hii inaonyesha shillings and so on. Then number 4 is modeling. Hii nilikuwa nimeandika number 2. That was number 3. So we are now in number 4. Modeling. This is done in 4 tasks. This is done in 4 tasks. 4 tasks. 1, Roman 1. Select modeling technique. Select modeling technique. E.g. regression. Number 2, generate test design. Generate test design. E.g. validation tests. Validation tests. Validation tests. Number 3 is build the model. Build model. Into brackets, you can get X and Y. And say specify X and Y. And the last one is assess the model. Assess the model. So as I've said, these things they mirror our relationships. If you want to form a relationship with a person, you decide the technique, the method that you're going to use. And then you come up with the criteria. Anyone who I have a relationship with, lazima akuwe na these and these characters. That's what you're calling validation. Then you now build, ukipata mtu wako na hizo characters that you wanted, you start building the relationship. Then ukiona it is likely to work, you assess. Again, if you have done a bit of statistics, we call them the reliability tests. The reliability tests. You all know that, for example, when you want to form something like marriage, you don't just meet a person and you get married immediately. You subject them to a lot of tests, and then finally you adopt the person or the model. So here, number one, you're saying, get to know which technique, which method are you going to use in the regression. Najua for Excel, sijui kama umefanya hizo vitu, when you have the data, you click huko kwa data analysis, unaona hizo regression, correlation, nini, ako ka box, whatever, unaona all those, unachagua ni gani unatumia. Then una validate the data. Again kwa Excel, nitaonyeshwa how to validate the data. Then ukisha validate, you select who will be the X, who will be Y. Umefanya regression? Mr. Ruto? Okay, maybe I'll come to do it, or you do it. So hapa tunachagua nani yako X, nani yako Y. Then from there you run the model. Ukishapata equation, like maybe imetoka Y is equal to 5 plus 8x. Then you assess. To assess again is like what I had said earlier, you subject it to further tests to know how accurate, how good it is. Haya, number 5 inaitwa evaluation. 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 All right, that this looks more broadly. It looks more broadly at which model? It looks more broadly at which model best meets the business. Best meets the business and what to do next. And what to do next. It involves 3 tasks. It involves 3 tasks. 1, evaluate results. Evaluate results. Number 2, you review the process. The process. Roman 3, determine next steps. So what happens here? Maybe you have run several equations. You have done several sets. Again, in statistics, we talk of sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, all the way to wherever. Each of these, maybe ilikuwa na 10 units, maybe ilikuwa na 18, ilikuwa na 37. So each one umerun equation. You need now to know which one best fits the data, or rather the business or your customer. So it is done in 3 ways or in 3 steps. You evaluate the results, you review the process, and then you determine what happens next. I want to use the case of the presidential results. When we do the voting for the president, and some people go to the court, what the court does, number 1, is to evaluate the results. Nani alitangazwa mshindi? What are the figures? So tuone huyu yako na this million na huyu yako na this millions. Sawa. Then from there, let us review what? The process. Ni kweli umeshinda, but how was the process? You remember in 2017 when Maraga nullified the presidential election, he said that ni kweli umeshinda. Lakini the process was faulty. And the process is as important as the results. So based on the process, we cancel these results. Then they also gave what? The recommendation. What are the next steps? Now those steps that they gave in 2017, ndio zilikuwa zinafuatiliwa kwa karibu sana in 2022. So that is what happens. You review the results, you review the process, then from what you have seen, you give the recommendations of the next steps. And finally, number 6 is called deployment. Deployment. This is where now you use the model, deployment. This is about adopting the model. This is about adopting the model. It has 4 tasks. Has 4 tasks. 1, develop, document a plan. Document a plan for deployment. Develop and document a plan for deployment. Number 2, plan monitoring and maintenance. Monitoring and maintenance. Number 3, produce final report. Produce final report. And the last one is review the project. Review the project. Review the project. So that is now what we call deployment. It is now when you are using it. I think over the weekend, I saw Cooperative Bank. They were changing their system. They were migrating into a new system. So on Friday of last week, I think they closed their branches at 3 p.m. instead of at 4. And then the whole of Saturday, they were closed. They opened on Monday. And I happened to visit them on Monday morning. And on Monday morning, there were a lot of delays in the early morning hours because of the new system. So when you are implementing that system or that model, you need to develop and document what a plan. How did they know Friday watafunga at 3, na whole Saturday they will not be working? It was something that was documented, it was planned. Then someone must have been there. Actually, when I went there in the morning, and then in the evening, I also had some other transactions. So when I went, was it in the morning? Yeah, in the morning, I met some guys who I think they were their system developers who are moving from one counter to the other, even explaining to, first of all, explaining to the cashiers who are having issues with the new system. Ukiona hapa inakuja hivi, inakuwa hivi. They would also come to the customers who are there wanaambia ukiona hii delay, we have changed. These are teething problems. So they were monitoring what was happening to avoid a lot of issues. Then I'm sure by the end of that day, they produced a report, and maybe even by today they are still producing the reports to monitor the progress. And then finally, after that's when your system is running, the bank is using it, they will review the project. So they review the project, sasa they will prepare a summary report, tangu ulipoanza up to where you have released the project to the customer. Good. Any question at that point? What's up? Those who are online, I believe that we are okay. From there, if you're not okay, you can raise a query. Are you okay? If you're okay, can you type yes? Sifikirie we are together, kumbe we are in different worlds. Let me see. Yeah, I can see the yeses, I can see the okays. Yeah, good. Thank you. Let's now look at 5 B's of big data. 5 B's of big data. Huge data. Huge data has what we call the 5 B's. Number 1 is volume. We write that this is the size and amount. The size and amount. Number 2 is value. Rather, these are quantifiable business benefits. Quantifiable business benefits. Quantifiable business benefits. Number 3, inaitwa variety. This is diversity. Diversity and range of types of data. Types of data. Diversity and range of types of data. Structured and unstructured data. Structured data. Raw data. etc. The types of data, that's what you're calling variety. Number 4 is called velocity. Velocity. This is the speed at which companies receive, store, and manage data. The speed at which companies receive, store, and manage data. E.g., social media posts. Social media posts. Search queries. Search queries. etc. etc. And the last one is veracity. 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 This is the truth. And truth is important. Is the truth and accuracy of data. This is the truth and accuracy of data. So we are saying that when you're dealing with this data, remember we are dealing with data analytics. There must be these 5 things. You must look at the volume. What is the size of this data? What is the amount? The value, the quantifiable benefits. How will the business benefit? Then the variety. What is the diversity? Are you using structured data, unstructured data? Are you using raw data? Are you using primary data, secondary data? All those kind of data. Velocity is the frequency, the speed, the traffic. Like for your Facebook page, how many people liked there? Ukiandika kakitu, how many people comment and at what speed? What's it? When you look at your website, how many people are making inquiries? How many people are searching the search results? What normally, we have what we call the trading. What is trading? Watu wamekuwa wakichunguza nini ama wakikweli nini? You need to check on that. The velocity has to do with the truth of the data, the accuracy of the data that you are dealing with. Very, very important. Okay, let's look at something known as data analysis. Data analysis. Right, that this is an interactive process. interactive process of a person tackling a problem, of the person tackling a problem, comma, finding the data required, finding the data required to get the answer, comma, analyzing that data, and interpreting the results, in order to provide a recommendation, for action. So that is what we call data analysis. It is something that is done by someone who has what? Problem. Someone who has a problem. And when you have a problem, you go out looking for what? Data. When you have gathered this data, as I said, it comes in bulk and in a disorganized way. So then you must analyze it. You must arrange it. Again, if you have done the basic statistics, unajua tunaanza na zile frequency distribution tables, alafu unaanza kuchora the diagrams, the map, the graphs, ndio unaona the format of that data. Then ukisha run the equation, you interpret. For example, umepata y is equal to 10 plus 4x. What does this then mean? What does this 4 mean? When we come to the interpretation of the regression results and a bit of management accounting, I shall be interpreting this. Now, when you interpret, you give the recommendation. Give the recommendation so that the right action can be taken. It's like umeenda lab in a hospital, wamekupea results. Zikipelekwa kwa daktari, anazinterpret, alafu anakuambia sasa, kulingana na hii, you need to do this and this, and you don't need to do this and this. Let's define data reporting. Data reporting. Data reporting. We write that this is the process of organizing. This is the process of organizing and summarizing data. Organizing and summarizing data in an easily readable format. Easily readable format. Communicate important information. Communicate important information. You see the difference between the analysis and reporting is that the analysis is more done by an expert. And then you simply tell the client the action. Like what I've cited the case in the hospital. Hiyo yote inafanywa na madaktari, even recommending what should be tested, the testing. So the doctor tells you, sasa hivi matao utakuwa unakunywa 1 times 3. You even do not know the type of drugs, what it's called. Yeah. Wewe ni kuambiwa sasa kuanzia leo uko unakunywa hii na hii na hii. But in reporting, tunapeana the whole information, but inawekwa in a way, easily readable. Mwenye si expert ataelewa, like what we do in financial reporting. I want us to do a small comparative analysis of the two So we are going to do it in a tabular way. So data reporting hapa and data analysis. Data reporting and data analysis. One shows the user what happened. Shows the user what happened in the past. Shows the user what happened in the past. And to avoid inferences. To avoid inferences. To avoid inferences. And get a feel for the data. And get a feel for the data. To avoid inferences and get a feel for the data. But on the other side, data analysis provides answers. Provides answers to any question or issue. Any question or issue. And number two, on the side of the report, provides data that was asked for. Provides data that was asked for. But on the other side here, provides information or the answer. Provides information or the answer actually needed. Provides information or the answer actually needed. Number three, reporting, done in standardized fixed formats. Done in standardized fixed formats. And on the analysis, the format can be customized. The formats can be customized. Number four, can be done using a tool. Can be done using a tool. That does not involve any person. That does not involve any person. But on the other side, a person must be involved for it to be complete. A person must be involved for it to be complete. And the last one is that reporting is inflexible. 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 But on the other side, it's flexible. Flexible. So these are some of the differences that you notice with reporting. Like now, if I say this is now what we do in FR, and this is what we do in advanced management accounting or in QA, because FR is reporting. So FR, it shows the past. So tunasemanga income statement for the period ended. Yeah. But this one, it seeks to provide information or to provide or to answer queries that have been raised. So we are looking, we are providing the answers. Then this one, it provides data that has been asked for. But here, we provide information or the answers for the questions. The other thing is that this one is done in a way that is very, very much customized. Unajua FR, si kuna hizo format, kama ni income statement kuna format na haibadiliki. Hata sasa hivi ukirudi huko set 3 utapata ile format uliacha hapo ya cash flow, ile uliacha hapo ya income statement bado iko. And mwalimu will still come and teach you, remind you a bit of that. But here analysis, you will customize it. You do as per the needs of your customer. So ile model utatupea kama Destiny sio yenye unaweza peleka KU ama sio inaweza peleka Broadways company and so on. Then this reporting can be done by a tool. A very good case is computers. And this is one of the things that you know is challenging our employability. Because people now are choosing not to employ accountants more, but to use computers. So that now we are just left with consultancy, auditors now interpreting what? The results. Yeah, and this is the reason why even CASNEP now get to switch and ensure that students now are trained on data analysis. Because data analysis cannot be done without what? A person. So kama accounting sasa hawatupatii kazi, sasa inabidi tunahama hapa tukuje kwa data what? Analysis. Because no one can do data analysis without a person. The computer hata ikirani hizo models zenye mnarani hapa, we must come and say, sasa ukiona hii inamaanisha hii. The other thing is that this one, financial reporting is inflexible. As I've said, the formats are standardized, but the analysis is very, very what? Okay. Let's mention data analysis process. Data analysis process. So this data analysis process, ni kama tu hii ya Chris. They are more or less the same. More or less the same. So I'll just highlight. Number one, business understanding. Business understanding. Number two, data exploration. Data exploration. Number three is data preparation. Data preparation. Number four is data modeling. Number five is data evaluation. And the last one is deployment. Deployment. So those steps are actually the same that we had listed for the priests. They are basically the same. Maybe change of word hapa na pale, but they are the same. So nimeona nikupatie hivyo zikiwa the two titles ndio usiletewe uone kama they are different. So naona time imeisha. I thought I would be able to complete the exam, but ni kama sijaweza, nimebakisha kidogo. So when we meet next, we shall look at types of data analysis. Types of data analysis. So I think I'll do that, God willing, next Saturday. Nimalize hiyo, alafu sasa nianzane na MA. Yeah. Nianzane na MA. So Still on that Saturday, I don't think I will require the laptop because nikishamaliza hii theory, I will first of all show you a little bit of manual way of the MA. Maybe in our next lesson we will require the laptop. Ama nikishawaonyesha the manual way, wengine niachie mtu awaonyeshe. Yeah. But basically, it is just reminding you about, like most of you have not done, actually none of you has done advancement. So I'm just coming to remind you on that. So thank you so much for attending. Make sure you talk to your colleagues who have not yet joined so that they come and join. We have read elaborate information to ensure that this time around we have different results. But we are also calling upon you people to make sure that you read and read widely, or rather read intensely. What we are giving you is enough, lakini uhakikishe umerevise. Look at your notes. Si uko na vitabu zako za FR, uko na kitabu ya tax, uko na kitabu ya audit. Look at that without trying. Take time upitie, ujikumbushe cash flow statement inatengenezwa aje, how do you assess tax, how do you use the high roll method, how do we make the budget. Ukifuata hiyo course out time, because you have those notes. So I would highly recommend that. On our side, we are also going to come in so that we really support you to ensure that we report very different results this time around. Yeah. So thank you. And next time.